Hey, what up? Welcome to the channel. This is SloanX. Appreciate you tuning into this video. If you've been a subscriber in my channel for a while, welcome back. I got into this space years ago when I released my Only in Battlefield competition entry, The Rush, and got quite a few subscribers back then. And if you're one of those, thank you, and I'm sorry that the quality of my content has not been up to that caliber for the last decade. So we're trying to change that. If you're new to this, thanks for tuning in. If you go on my channel, you'll see I upload a lot of clips from games over the years that I've played, bounced between Rainbow Six, Hunt Showdown, World of Warcraft, DayZ, a lot of different games. I've now decided to create curated videos around specific topics. Today's video is actually going to be around the finals. If you couldn't see by the title, excited to talk through that game. One thing that's interesting to me about this title actually ties back to the Battlefield franchise. So a lot of the key DICE employees that were involved with the OG Battlefield titles and the ones that we come to love, Battlefield 3, the best in my opinion, although Bad Company 2 is amazing also. I'll get in trouble for saying that if I don't mention that. But I would say Battlefield 3, phenomenal. So a lot of those folks left DICE and started a new studio called Embark. And Embark is, I am an old dad, so dad jokes intended, embarking on some interesting new games. One of them is the finals, and another one is Arc Raiders. We'll talk about Arc Raiders for a second, and then we'll get into the finals. Arc Raiders is extremely interesting to me because if you look at my channel, you'll see I played DayZ when it was a mod for Arma. I played DayZ standalone. I played PUBG when it came out, Blackout with Call of Duty, and I've gone through just about the Cycle, Frontier, Hunt Showdown, have 1,700 hours in that game. Extraction shooter is definitely my jam. Now, I like to game to chill out and cool and calm down, but also clearly I like to get sweaty and frustrated and all those things that those games do. I do like the competition related to that genre. So, very excited to see what happens on the Arc Raiders front. I know a lot of people are disappointed. They made a pivot from the PvE game, which was in the original trailer, now to an extraction type thing. I'm excited for it, but I guess we'll see what happens. What I will say is, though, if the finals is any indication of the quality of product that studio is capable of, I'm encouraged. So, I was invited to the closed alpha of the finals, played that, and then I also participated in the open beta. I would say the open beta was obviously a more refined product, but one of the key reasons was that I had a better time was because I was able to play with my friends. This game is so synergistic around team play. Aside from the kind of sweaty mode where you kill players and deposit their coins, that mode there's not really an objective other than collecting score and depositing that score. So you can kind of go lone wolf in that environment. But the traditional game mode and the tournament mode, etc., are very team-centric. Not a lot of lone wolfing going on, regardless of if you're a heavy or a light or a medium, which we'll talk about the different character types. But regardless, when you're playing with a team, it's a lot funner. So the video that you are seeing in the background here is actually me playing with my nephew and his buddy. Shout out to my nephew Theory, Coach Theory. Interestingly enough, and you'll maybe see this in the play, he was top 500 in the US as a Reinhardt player. And that experience, which you can see with the shield and other things, translates extremely well. It was a blast playing with him. And in the composition that we have here, I'm playing a light character. We have our buddy, and then my playing a medium character, and then my nephew playing a heavy character. So, traditional composition. I will note there's no limitations. You could go 3 light, you could go 3 heavy, or a mixture of all of them. And I'm sure as the game evolves and people understand the meta, things will change. Who knows what's going to come out on top, and then ultimately the developers will balance or hopefully balance towards. Just as a kind of a baseline for this game mode, there are coin boxes around the map, these like rectangular shaped boxes. The interesting thing is there's letters and there's numbers. So the letters are where you would deposit. So there's deposit A, B, C, D, depending on how many there are up at a time. And then there are numbered cash boxes. So you can go and activate a cash box, which would be a 1, 2, 3. And then once it's activated, everyone can see it. Once it's activated, you can run with it, you can throw it, and basically you're trying to get it deposited into the letters A, B, C, D, and then there's a timer that counts down. And while that timer's counting down, everyone can see that it's counting down. Think about, I don't know, Hunt Showdown as you're banishing a boss, right? It's driving all of the PvP related activities to a concentrated location. So unique and exciting, and also, you know, you'll have people that are just much like a Hunt Showdown or other games of that genre that are PvP but also with a point of contention. You can have two teams fighting off in the distance, because you'll either have 3 teams or 4 teams. You can have 2 teams duking it out in a death match across the map, and you can just be capturing the point with no problems, uncontested. So interesting. As you get to 4 teams, it gets a little more interesting, and that happens in the tournament mode. So at that point, you could have, again, two teams fighting over one box, 2 teams fighting over another, all 4 fighting over one. Very interesting in that way. There are 3 key class types in the game. There's a light, a medium, and a heavy. The light character has limited health, but fast movement speed. One of the key things about them is they have a sniper rifle, or access to a sniper rifle, and a sword. They also have 3 key abilities. They have a zip line, which you can see in the video, which you can compare to maybe a Pathfinder in Apex Legends. They have a cloaking ability, which can be used on demand, it is not permanent, and think of the Spy in Team Fortress. And then lastly, they have an ability to dart around quickly, a dodge type ability, think of Tracer from Overwatch. The medium character has a little bit more health and moves a little bit slower. It has access to some unique things as well. Firstly, they have access to an assault rifle and a grenade launcher, and they have access to revive paddles, which are unique because every character in the game can revive, but they can do an instant revive with a cooldown. Their 3 key abilities are the healing beam, which think of Mercy, or think of a healer in Team Fortress. Secondarily, they have a turret, so think of Torbjorn. And then lastly, they have a kind of a radar pulse where they can highlight enemies within vicinity to show teammates where they are, as well as themselves. And then the heavy has the most health, but is also the slowest. They also do the most melee damage with their big swings, but those swords can do a lot of damage too with the light characters. They have access to 3 unique abilities. One of them is the charge, which they can actually charge through the walls, and destruction plays a key in this ability because they can bring a whole building down if they charge around enough. Secondarily, they have access to a shield, which you'll see in the video here, which looks a lot like a Reinhardt type shield. And lastly, they have access to a goo gun, which they can use to seal entrances and control entries, things like that. A lot of denial of entry type mechanics. They also have access to a deployable shield that they can put and also block. So really good at keeping people out, especially as you're trying to capture a point. One of the most amazing parts of this game is the destruction. To deposit the coins into a box and then blow it down multiple floors so you can watch it from above, or as saw in the trailer, if someone has a deposit going a floor above you, to put C4 on the ceiling and bring it down to your level puts effectively the other team on the back foot. So again, destruction, while gimmicky in some games, is absolutely necessary in this game, and drives a lot of the key moments that I had during the open beta. One thing I will note about the game, there were a lot of last minute wins. It does seem like the game incents or makes the most valuable deposits happen at the end. So there's a lot of photo finish type moments, which are very exhilarating. So in the open beta, there were 4 key modes. One of them was called Bank It. Bank It was a mode that was the sweatiest of them all. Basically, there are boxes around the map, and there are deposit stations, just like the other mode. But effectively, when you go to a box, you get the coins that are in that box. And you have to take the coins themselves to the deposit station. versus taking the little square box you see in the video to the deposit station. So your player is effectively carrying at least 1,000 coins. So when you die, it's worth 1,000 coins for one player life. But as you collect more and more coins, you become visible on the map, and the trail that's following you gets bigger. So people are chasing after the people with the most coins. And then you have to run to a deposit station and get them all deposited to actually claim that. And the team with the highest score at the end wins. Secondarily, there is the quick cash mode, which is the mode you see in the video, where effectively you collect a box, you have to take it to a deposit station, and then there's a countdown timer to actually get credit for it, which people can steal and steal back, but the timer won't restart when the steal happens. Tournament mode and unranked tournament mode are effectively the quick cash mode, but they deal with more bracket type play. You'll start with multiple teams playing against one another and narrow it down to a final 1v1 scenario. Sometimes you'll have to wait for other teams to finish because it is a traditional bracket, and at the end, you enter the finals, which I believe is a namesake for the game for your one-on-one tournament. All of the game modes are extremely fun, and depending on the mood I was in, I would go for the team play type scenarios if I had friends online. Otherwise, I would go for the bank it scenario if I wanted to just play sweaty snipers. One other thing that's interesting is there's canisters around the map. There's 4 different types of canisters. You have the red canister, which causes an explosion and can do destruction as well as kill light players or other players if their health is low. You have green canisters, which when they explode, blow poison around and will create a denial area with poison bomb. You have pink containers that contain goo and can be used for denial of entry and block off areas of the map. And lastly, you have yellow containers, which will create fire in areas, which notably the fire will spread in areas that have foliage like a forest, etc. I would say in summary, it's a very unique game, not like anything we've seen up to this point. Very excited to see what Embark is going to do with this game in the long run. I would also add that we don't know what the monetization model is for this game. It does appear to be free to play with cosmetics, which I would say the cosmetics are very intriguing, and everything I've seen thus far has been super quality, but we don't know exactly what that's going to look like. We also don't know if future modes are going to come upon release, etc. But I would say up to this point, especially seeing the difference between the alpha and the beta, they're absolutely headed in the right direction, and I think that there's some great not only esports opportunities, but just casual play opportunities for the future for this game. So highly recommend the finals, at least based on what I've played thus far. Look forward to hopefully playing it with you all next month if the rumors are true, and let's dive on in. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to hit that like button if you appreciate the video and subscribe to my channel. I will tell me to keep creating videos like this, and once again, thank you for the support.